But he's largely, to a large extent, he's blaming guns. And I'm going to save your Second Amendment, folks. I'm going to save your Second Amendment. Totally. And Hillary wants to abolish the Second Amendment. Remember that.
What is his position in the sense that Trump says, I can change Washington. Trump says, I can get things done. A lot of conservatives don't like it, but Trump says, I'll cut deals. I'll bring the Democrats in. I'll make the best deal. He did suggest at one point, let's have a meeting with the NRA. Let's see if we can get them to the table. Relatively modest changes they're talking about here. If he could do that, wouldn't that be a banner for Trump to say, look, I got the NRA to compromise? Hasn't happened in the Obama administration, wouldn't happen in the Bush administration, but his tone seemed to change over the weekend when a lot of conservatives said, you know, this isn't about guns, and aren't you one of us?
Well, it's so interesting that the statement that the Trump campaign put out obviously mentioned this meeting that's forthcoming with the NRA and wanting to look into the proposal of banning those on terrorist watch list from buying guns, but then you see him on the stage, on the campaign trail, and his tone is completely different. So it just makes you wonder, is there actually a disconnect here, or is he always sort of recalculating what his stance should be? And I think it's really important to point out as well that for Republicans, the problem is that the message that they can run on the issue of gun control during the primary season is very different from the message that they need to run on during the general election. It's all good to, you know, say in Iowa or New Hampshire, you know, I'm all about unrestricted gun access, but when you get to, you know, the suburbs of Philadelphia or Northern Virginia, and you're trying to appeal to soccer moms and moderates, that message does not work as well.
Very true. It's very true. And as MJ said, it's hard to know how much of this is a calculation with Trump and how much of this is just sort of a disconnect between.
Or how much of it is staff putting it, maybe.
Exactly.
You get the disconnect sometimes between what they say on paper or what he says in a teleprompter speech, between what he says at his rallies, and sometimes it's like, will the real Donald Trump please stand up?
There has been an internal push and pull on a number of issues on trying to get him in a certain direction. And, you know, he is very prone to listening to whoever or following the advice of whoever he spoke with last. And so there is concern within the campaign. They are aware that he is taking positions that are very far, in many cases, to the right of where the general election electorate is. And so I think this was one area where they thought, well, we can look like we're finding some middle ground. But as you say, he feeds off these crowds.
Yeah,
so he goes to Texas, where he's going to do well at that rally in Dallas, talking about the Second Amendment, and look at the reaction he gets. So he'll keep doing it.
In terms of guns overall, though, such a different conversation on the Democratic side of this presidential campaign than even 8 years ago. Perhaps it's the combined toll of all these shootings, all the time that the president has had to make this speech and hug families, but it is a different tone, and certainly a different tone on guns than in 1992. No doubt about it here.
Let's listen. Let's make the contrast, because you make a key point. Democrats now feel comfortable looking at the Obama coalition. African Americans in the inner city, they can push gun control. You just talked about the close-in suburbs, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Columbus, you can push gun control. Maggie mentioned, here's Donald Trump in Texas over the weekend. Again, would he talk about his plan to maybe cut a deal with the NRA, or will he focus on something else?
It's a hatred. It's a deep-seated hatred. And President Obama is trying to make terrorism into guns. And it's not guns, folks. It is not guns. It is not guns. This is terrorism.
Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, says, no, Mr. Trump, it's both.
I believe we Americans are capable of both protecting our Second Amendment rights while making sure guns don't fall into the wrong hands. The terrorist in Orlando was the definition of the wrong hands.
Just watching them. Almost if you turn the volume down and just watch them, the body language even is such a contrast.
Right, and I think post-Orlando, we really got, maybe in one of the clearest ways possible, the fundamental differences between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. You know, Donald Trump is all about exuding strength and saying that he wants a drastic change from the status quo, and Hillary Clinton is all about experience, and that's why she has been pushing the word temperament so often, and I think basically all of her speeches, right, just saying that Donald Trump is not only lacking in experience, but lacking in the temperament to be commander-in-chief.
It's fascinating. I was in the Capitol on Friday, John, and to echo your point, there's nobody there who thinks that these bills will pass on Monday in the Senate. And even if they did, the House obviously is an even more conservative place. But it's striking to think what the scenario would be if you had a Republican nominee who was more of a sort of pragmatic political veteran who called McConnell up and who called Paul Ryan and said, we got to figure out this gun deal here. Maybe we can work a sort of terrorism angle. What can we do that sort of buys us some credibility with suburbanites, but at the same time, we won't take off the NRA and come up with some kind of strategy and a plan? What we're watching now is neither a strategy nor a plan, right? But it does make you sort of wonder what could have been.
What could have been? What could have been? We'll see what happens in the Senate, and we'll see whether Mr. Trump, he has a chance here. He might not be in the country, but he has a chance here as they debate these things. We'll see how that plays out.